Hello, everyone.
I'm going up and to the right.
What the heck?
What the hex?
Hello.
What the hex?
What the heck is this snow?
Is going on with this snow and with these markets?
I'm
Jeez.
cold.
Unsnow your equipment, bro.
I just wanted to acknowledge that I'm now actually famous because I made it to the intro.
I saw that. Wonderful job. You held up jigs. In fact, you look like you're really up there with the jig work.
Exactly.
And now, can you fix my snow?
In fact, that was already 5 episodes ago, but I'm glad that somebody finally noticed. Before we get into things, because we've got a very special guest joining us today, let's just say hi real quick to the chat, as we always do. A young Alan Fizzer-May is first. The reckoning continues. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Nom Nom second with the indeed. We got Samantha in the chat. Facing realities here, DJ and Dougie. Good morning, you guys. It's Sandy B, Hex Alchemist, Hex and SB. That's a live crowd. We got 65 people already watching. Side Effects is here. David Lee is here from the Texan Token fam. Hex on Air. JFK666. DJ is going to be so mad because his mood is always linked to the price. Finally, somebody who understands me. I'm not crying. I'm mad. I'm just angry.
He's the angry hamster. He's not the mad hamster.
At this precious waste of time. So welcome everybody. Yeah, it is.
Full circle. Woo!
You all know what's going to happen. You know where it's going to go. So no, we've been on Mars. We go back to Moon just to go to Saturn. That's kind of what we do. So. And yeah, that's my whole thing. But anyway, welcome to What the Hex episode 20, or as Peter likes to call it, the Cryptomatic Show. But not today, because today
I never said that.
What the hex is that about, Peter?
What the hex, Peter?
Am I supposed to be angry at Peter or DJ Cryptomatic? I don't know who I'm supposed to be angry about.
Why not both?
Both of you guys. What the hex?
Well, we've met. At least we've met in person. And another gentleman that's coming on the show right now, I've also met in Las Vegas last year. He is a famous co-streamer in the Pulse and Hex ecosystem, the co-founder of the Texas Token at Texan.cc. Texan Token, exactly. Yes. Not Texas Token, the Texan Token.
Not Taxes Token.
My friend, the wonderful, the beautiful Mr. CryptoHeartbeat.
What's up? Hello.
Hey!
Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
How are you?
Heartbeat.
Good to see you. DJ Cryptomatic, Papa B, good to be on with you. Peter, Elmire,
Hello.
good to see you. Good to see you.
Nice to speak
Good
with
to
you
see you
again.
for the first time.
Long time.
Yeah.
Live.
CryptoHeartbeat. Yeah, CryptoHeartbeat, you and I were on a stream together about a year ago, I want to say. And I said to you then, y'all come back, you hear, and you heard.
That's right. I came back. It's
Very
great to be
nice.
with you guys. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it a lot.
No, that's been a long time coming, and we really appreciate you joining us. How are you feeling these days? Isn't this crazy? I mean, 2 years we've been talking, we've been shouting it from the mountains, Pulsechain this, Pulsechain that, when launch, when testnet, all this stuff. And then finally now it's here, you know, everything we ever said on this show, what you said on your shows, it has come true, you know, with the FUD. People say, oh, Richard, we're never going to launch this. And we were always saying, of course he's going to launch it. Launch it when it's ready. How are you feeling? What is going through your like emotional being these days?
Well,
Where are you at?
yeah, it's time. It's exciting. To me, timing is everything. And Richard, I swear he has a crystal ball. But it reminds me, when I first got into Hex, I literally saw it on a television ad at 2 a.m. And that's old man CryptoHeartbeat can't sleep, and so I see this thing that says, "Would you like to be rich?" And what's funny about it is I was like, "Yeah, I would. That'd be great." And it was Richard's voiceover. I knew nothing about anything, and I started watching Hexo on D Live back in the day, and we would watch every day at the end of the workday. Ray and I would. And what's crazy is I remember people's attitude there before Big Payday. And they'd been waiting for a year, but then had waited 2 years prior to that. And so what's really interesting is this is a cycle again, but it feels that same excitement that I got from Hexo and everybody back in the day of, hey, this anticipation of something. Big Payday came and everybody was like, oh man, the dip. And here we are. So it's funny that actually the irony of today and what the market's doing, and just we've seen it before. We don't have to worry about a thing.
That's interesting you say that, and that's one of my questions I have for you, actually. I want to praise you on your persistence for always, holding up the flag during all this time and this fought. What do you think did it for you, or why did you always keep like a positive mindset? I kind of said this on this 48-hour stream that Maddie did last weekend. Most of us who've been here from the start, from the really day one AA adoption amplifier start of Hex, we've been through 1.5 years literally waiting for Richard to launch Hex back then. And I've been on other shows where people ask me, what much risk, what must happen, or what must Richard do for you to lose your faith in the Pulsechain price? I said, no, I'm not losing my faith. I know this is going to launch. I know this will happen when it happens, because we had already this live through proof of how Richard is acting and behaving. But you coming a bit later, still early, but a bit later than many of us. What did it do for you? Why did you not lose faith in the launch of Pulse?
It's a good question. I think, well, one, you have to be optimistic to be in crypto, right? So it's very difficult to be a pessimist in crypto. But I think also, one of the things that I learned very, very early on, and Richard said this, he said, this is just a narrative meme, meaning this is just a story. And if you think about really what drives crypto, it's community and adoption, right? More buyers and sellers. So I keep it super simple. And I understood that from the beginning, is that, if we get out there and chop wood and you're on your 20th episode, and, I've done like 500 videos now in the last 2 years, I know that if I continue, other people will continue. And I know that it's not actually about, price chart. It's about the growth of the community. And when I looked at Hex and I saw it growing just constantly, more stakers, more users, I realized, hold on, I have an effect on that, even though it might be small and hard to measure day to day. Is that what is so special about this is the community. And, coupled with everything now, of course, what keeps me going now is what I see happening in the world that is literally antithetical to what, DeFi and crypto is all about. And so to me, the stakes are even greater now, because the fact that if we don't have this vertically aligned ecosystem that is in the vision of Richard Hart, we may not have a shot to be able to have freedom and sovereignty to buy and sell. And so to me, it's so much more vital now. And to see him launch the Pulsechain and to realize, hold on, we've got a shot. Folks, here's the thing. There's going to be something coming in the future, and it is going to be shocking. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's aliens. I don't know if it's nuclear war. I don't know if it's, the destruction of things, but something's coming, because it always does. And the question is, what's going to remake this system? Well, they're going to try to remake it in their own image, which is centralized and controlling. And we actually have someone who stands on their principles. And to me, I can look past everything else when I see that there's someone like Richard who, I swear to you, God sees him out of the corner of his eye, because he is, perfect timing, even though we had to wait, bottom of the market. And you know what? I don't think we can lose. It's not just about Richard. It's about all of you and the consistency. It's so difficult to build community, and this is a real special group.
Speaking of special group, just a moment, please. Two things I must bring to your attention, everybody. Number one, 20 episodes from the hard fork. We've put in our time here, over 220 episodes on another show, and then we decided to open up our own shenanigans over here in this Wake Up Hex thing. But that's number one. Number two, DJ Cryptomatic, please deposit into the swear jar for Mr. CryptoHeartbeat. I believe I heard the word folks.
Yes. That's one ink token right there.
That's one ink goes into the
one ink
swear
in there,
jar.
please. Yes. Carrying on. Please pop up ink in there.
It's kind of a drinking game on CryptoHeartbeat. When I say folks, everybody has to drink.
That's right.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
Oh,
I know the swear word.
Can I take a point of personal privilege?
Yes.
Yeah. So Chris Side Effects.
I will allow it.
Okay, thank you. Chris Side Effects in the chats. Mom is going to the ER right now. And I just saw that in the chat, and I just wanted to. He's asking for people to pray for his mom and all that, and that's what I love about this community. People willing to share those kind of personal things, and people have come around me when my dad passed and all that. And anytime I see that stuff, I just want to say, "Hey, folks, there you go again. Let's have the side effects in our thoughts and prayers and such, because it's hard to go through that stuff."
Yes, prayers to side effects. I was not aware. How has this launch been for you? These, like, for me, I have to say, these 2 days, the first 2 days when it came out, was very overwhelming. Like, there was so much information that you had to, like, it kind of was all there on the testnet, but not really. It's again a different thing when it's actually live, and then you were scraping around on Twitter, on Telegram, trying to find where what's happening now, what is active, what is not yet. How have these long days of the launch have been for you? I've seen you do the popcorn, the long-awaited eating the popcorn stream with Crypto Panda and Rex to Riches. But how has this been for you?
So when I first heard, I was literally in my daughter's boyfriend's graduation that was held at a church. And I'm, it's about to start, and I know I have to be there for at least an hour, and the Pulsechain launches, and my phone just absolutely blows up. And here I am sitting there, and of course, it's not my daughter's graduation; it's my daughter's boyfriend. I'm like, how can I get out of this? So I had to sit there,
beating on your brow.
And I was imagining. I think I hallucinated that Richard Hart came in onto stage, and it was it was surreal. And I told my wife, I said, the Pulsechain just launched. She's like, no way, because I
gotta go.
CryptoHeartbeat, can you repeat after me? Okay, this gets you out of anything. As an older man as we are.
Yes.
You're in church. You're in a situation where you must get out. Say in as clear a voice as you can to your tilt your head to the right.
Okay.
With me.
Okay.
I think
I'm
passing
a
kidney stone.
Good.
It's all you have to do. No one's going to verify, man. Just hobble right out the door. Your wife may even drive you back home and get you a drink.
Yeah, I have faked Crohn's disease, so we're in good shape here.
Nice. Nice.
Since you alluded earlier that you and me and Papa B, we are pretty much the same age. And I always dreamed of doing a stream, maybe put RG3 in with us as well. Yes. The four of us just
he would be the altar cocker. He's 5 years old.
80s and the good old times, and dunking all these Gen X's and millennials, but no Gen X's, that's us, the Gen Z's and the millennials. But of course we cannot do that because we would lose 90% of our audience. But is that
it's not boomers? Elmeyer, bite your tongue. You don't know.
Gen X, baby.
Shut up. You're like 30 years old, Elmeyer. Sit down, young pup.
But isn't that an interesting dynamic that, it's a bunch of us, the elder statesmen sort of, and then a whole, army of all these young people, Valiant Brand, mid-20s, early 20s, that we have like the whole age spectrum. And then even with Hex 19, more senior people as well in the community. Like we have the whole spectrum here. Isn't that also what makes it so exciting, that generational mix?
Yeah, and I think people pay attention to that. They might not ever put their thumb on it and say, yeah, it's because of this, but people take note of that. You know, one of the reasons when I got into Hex, you know, I was like, okay, this is my group of people, because I feel like everybody kind of grew up, and I'm not saying everyone's blue collar, but I feel like there's this blue collar thing. I grew up in, you know, southeastern Michigan, Motown. My dad worked at a factory. You know, it was like we were poor, and so I could relate with Richard Hart, and it seemed like everybody was real and authentic. But I think the more and more you look at this, you want to see yourself in it, you know, and you want to see, hey, does somebody like me pass the IQ test? And what I saw when I came into it was, yeah. And I remember seeing Cece from Liquid Loans, and I'm like, okay, there are people that I consider to be, you know, think like I do. And that's the neat thing about this is, you know, you see this so much when people are trying to decide, you know, is this for me? A lot of times they say, well, am I going to be accepted? Am I going to fit in? And that's what I love about this community is wherever you go, no matter who you are, your race, your gender, who you love, I don't care your politics. When you go and meet people in real life and in person, people are high-fiving because there's something greater than that. And I'll be honest with you, I don't find that anywhere else in my life.
And not only that, but which other community you have a Telegram voice chat live 24/7, a Twitter Spaces 24/7, where anyone can go in and just ask questions, have their doubts clarified, or just ask for help.
Yep. Well, and that's something that
Elmeyer,
I think
is someone playing racquetball in your hallway or something?
It's not on my side. The cats are sleeping.
That's on me. I fixed it. The air conditioning needs some servicing, I guess. Maybe I should speak to Richard about it. Yeah.
You had a knockwurst you threw into the air duct. Great. Thank you. Yeah.
So,
Peter,
have you been doing a lot of tech support for people?
Oh, me? Oh, yeah. Last night we had 50 people on a private Zoom call, and it was the basics. How do I get a wallet? How do I import a custom token? I mean, there was, and that's one of the things we have a lot of because of the Texas nationalist movement. We have a lot of people who zero knowledge of crypto, and you know they've been airdropped this because they were a donor or because they were a volunteer, and they're like they know absolutely zero. And it's really cool when they get it, though. You know how that is when you have an onboard who's like, hold on, yeah, I heard about that Bitcoin thing, and that's all they know. And then you know that they're coming into DeFi, though. That's the thing that makes me happy is that if we can get these principles into their minds to understand, hey, hold your own keys, you know, only deal with immutable contracts. I mean, it's so huge.
And security.
Speaking of holding your own keys, you definitely included the hardware wallet necessity in your 50-person call.
Please say yes.
Yeah, I especially said that you needed to use what's that latest one that got hacked? The T.
No. Hold on. Let's dispel with that, and it's not a joke. Neither has been hacked. Neither the Ledger or the Trezor. Neither have been hacked. What happened was that and we had a 2-hour Twitter space kind of going through this, and then they had a kind of a meet the press type of Twitter space of their own. Good. But they rolled out a bit of firmware and a service that you can opt in for that would allow the company to extract or allow the device to shoot backwards the keys in a sharding fashion to 3 different companies for safekeeping, because after all, you're too stupid and irresponsible to keep your own keys. But you don't have to consider that with Trezor, nor do you have to consider that with the Ledger Nano S Plus, nor the S, which is a defunct product. But anyway, it's not. It's like a heart attack. We have to really consider this to be the bare minimum in our community. Matty Allen's stream, he did a poll. How many people have hardware wallets? 35 people said no. 35%, rather. 35%. I thought that was very high, but it's the reverse of where we started. So the previous year, it was around 59, 58% that said that they didn't have it. So this time it's totally flipped. So we're doing a good job, but we have to do better. And CryptoHeartbeat, please tell me that you're covering this as the basics on your chat.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
It's important
Well,
that people understand. Sorry for cutting you off. It's important that people understand that I could send you a file to every one of you that is on the Telegram chat and talking to me and saying that you only have MetaMask. I can send you a file with Mars Stealer malware, and I would get your seed phrases. It's as simple as that. It's not like we are not making a big cabal in pro hardware wallet because we like to make money somehow out of it. It's simply that easy. You receive a fake email, a fake download link, a fake image, a fake voice message, whatever. You download the malware onto your computer, and you're screwed. Basically, it's as simple as that. So that's why hardware wallets are really, really important. And even yesterday, I had a call with 4 coworkers that actually started in crypto now, and one of them understood me wrong somehow, or had an issue with his hardware wallet, and ended up putting the seed phrases back on MetaMask. So I just told them, you just go there, create a new one, and send everything there again. And I don't want any excuses, because it's really that easy to lose all your money. And we heard multiple stories in the Telegram voice chat, and there's no joke.
It's multiple stories a day. A day. My inbox is flooded. But anyway, we don't want to go down this rabbit hole. We just wanted to make sure that you were enforcing the best practices in the community. Our work, Elmire and I have put in a lot of hours in the salt mines, onboarding, and I'm sure you have too. We don't want to lose any community members due to bad guys getting their seats. That's all. So, CryptoHeartbeat, sorry about derailing.
Kind of related to that Texan story is that if you guys have been following this Nano Ledger controversy with this upgrade that's supposed to roll out, and now they have kind of retracted from that or have delayed rolling that out.
No. Listen to the stream one more time. What they've done is they've said, look over here in this hand and look over here, something shiny. Here we go. All right, we're going to be open source on all of these parts of our code that we were never open source for before. There, don't look under these fingers, but look under this. Okay, guys, are we okay? Are we friends again, community? Come on, huh? That's all they did. And I listened to it very carefully twice, and it was just double talk. So I think as a community, we've kind of decided, at least the security practitioners that came together under one umbrella to have that little talk, we all decided that from now on, we will recommend Trezor over Ledger, but the 2 SKUs that are untouched for now are still acceptable with Ledger, the Ledger Nano S and the S Plus. Otherwise, the company has lost its way, and we accept that, that they can do whatever they want, but we vote with our pocketbook, and we don't take any chances with security.
All right. So what we need now is a joke from Finbear. Are you ready for this?
Oh boy, get the swear jar out.
Get the swear jar on lock. Check this out.
The Rags to Riches stream the other day, and it reminded me kind of like a party. And do you guys know what a ginger guy is always missing at a party? It's the invitation.
Okay.
CryptoHeartbeat, would you call that a hoot and a holler? Is that correct?
That would be a hoot and a holler, yeah. That's a good
Billy
kind of
Bob's
bad
hoot
joke.
and holler. But you and Rex, is it true that you've actually met through the Hexagon community, or did you know each other prior to that?
No, yeah, we met there. So I started a channel, and he had been going for a while, and he was one of these guys that he had this dry humor, but also this is in those early days when he was basically making fun of all the people that would come into his chat and have ridiculous comments. And I reached out to him because I thought he was hilarious. Yes. And he thought I was just some straight-laced old guy. And he basically said, the only way I'll stream with you is if you shotgun a beer with me on stream. So that's how we first met. So he was one of my first interviews, and he was kind enough to come on my stream. Really, probably one of the first I ever did.
And we know that your laces are not straight. They're Velcro, aren't they? Because you're old. You're old, sir. You're old.
My New Balance Velcro with my fanny pack.
You're more cool than I expected.
Thank you so much.
Now shotgun that beer.
Tell my wife that. Yes. Yeah.
But isn't that crazy? Like, you met through this community, and the saying, God works in mysterious way, like brings people together for you to both then work on such a big project. What is the future with Texan token? It still stands that you are onboarding or tokenizing, I should rather say, the whole community that's around the Texit movement. What are the future plans with that, or where are you on the roadmap towards that? Like, getting these people to understand how to use crypto and getting them excited for it, I guess. Where are you with this so far?
Well, you know what? Obviously, we've taken a page out of the Richard Hart book, which is there's no centralized organization, there's no marketing department, right? We did something, we gave a gift, right? So this is how I approach it. It's very similar to how Richard has. Hey, I put in the work. We told you how this works. We're giving you, basic education. But if you don't take responsibility for it, it doesn't become anything. And that's how we approach these things. Because one of the things, a principle that I've always subscribed to, is that people support what they help to create. And if you don't let people create things, they don't own it. And so I think the big mistake people make is they're like, look what I did. I got into, in my closet and I built this incredible thing in here. And then they're surprised that people don't like it. You can't work things that way. The way things work is that people have to have their fingerprints on it. They have to see their responsibility. And it's just like Papa B, right? How incredible is it that there's someone who says, I'll take all of this pressure of dealing with everyone's sob story about losing their keys, but there's someone who's asking for no money, who's handling every single one with grace and with support, and there's somebody in the community that's willing to do it for zero.
Yes,
that's service, right? So what is the characteristics of this community? We don't take your money and we serve you. Why? Because we know that if everybody plays the role that they're kind of designed to play, this thing grows. And that's, you look at the SEC stuff, right? Everybody thought when the SEC stuff, oh, it's over. It wasn't even a blip. And that's to the community saying, listen, it's like William Wallace and all of his warriors. We hold. We're not going to be rattled. And that's the thing I think is incredible is I think a lot of people, that don't have this kind of personal connection community. And like every time, Papa B, that you help somebody and they're like, oh, thank you so much. And it's happened so many times for all of us. You don't realize that goodwill and how valuable that actually is, because people don't forget it. They do not forget it. And that is like, hold on, this person didn't want something for me. They weren't trying to hustle me a product. They weren't trying to sell me something. They understand that, the rising tide lifts all boats. And to me, that's so rare. It's so rare for authentic people to serve each other. I mean, everybody's basically going into their house, closing the door, closing the gate, locking things down, not talking to each other. And here we are.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's true.
And it's been even better now that Pulsechain launched, and we are seeing everyone trying to help out people with fees that they didn't sacrifice for Pulse, and need some Pulse to do their swaps in the Twitter Spaces, in private decentralized contract that people created just to help out, or just giving them away to whoever asks on Telegram. So the community just came together and tried to work things out and find solutions for people so they can participate in a fair manner like we all did. So
yeah, this is a total community of brothers and sisters as well. And our biggest export is our heart, right?
Yeah, I don't see anyone just creating a new blockchain and we go there, oh, can we have some tokens just to trade? Well, go buy them. That's what they'll probably say. Oh, go screw yourself. Not us here. That's what makes us different.
Yeah, even Das Baum said yesterday in Green Room that he told us his experience, because everyone can see him being an admin of more groups regarding Pulse, and a lot of people want to make deals with him. So
yeah, and then there's Kinetics who shows up and then doesn't show up.
and then walks off.
Sorry, I had a baby crying. She
Oops.
snuck out through the doggy door and she was crying out in the yard. So
Listen, we've covered this. You're supposed to say, "I think I'm passing a kidney stone."
Yes.
Then you walk
I'm
off.
passing a kidney stone. I'll
And
be
then
right
take
back.
your
And
leave.
careful
Yeah.
with the no swearing today.
That's right.
Well, no problem here. So won't have an issue for me. I just wanted to praise CryptoHeartbeat publicly here. He's been probably one of the most profound community members. Wasn't here at the beginning, but has definitely become a staple of our community. And he is just, it's obvious that he cares as much about this community as anyone in this community does, maybe even more so than Richard Hart, in my opinion. Being of similar faith, I believe that it's the principles, the foundation, the cornerstone of why he cares for everybody so much in this community. And I think he's 100% correct. Like, what other meetups have you ever gone to where everyone's just happy to see each other, high fives everywhere? So happy to have him along on this journey. I love the ideas of the community building with Texan token, and you guys don't be sleeping on Ophir and the gem effect. So you guys, that is still the donation phase is still available for that. So don't forget about that, guys. Don't be sleeping on it. I think that there's going to be a huge opportunity there, bringing in other communities from around the world. Philippines, as a percentage wise, as a ratio of their population, are more into crypto than even Americans are. And so I think it's smart to be bringing people into the Pulsechain and into our community through other means. And so hats off, my friend. Hats off. I really appreciate everything that you've done. Super, super happy to be able to associate myself with you. And you bring up this community, brother. So thank you. Just want to publicly praise you for what you do.
Thanks, dude. Wow, that's really
Absolutely.
nice, Connecticut. Well, and that's super kind, and that's the test of our effectiveness, right? Is that people are willing to participate in this way and care for one another. Because here's the thing, I believe 100% that the crypto and DeFi is the alternative to this CBDC system. And, when everything hits the fan and let's say the dollar fails or whatever collapses under its weight of kind of an imperial America, we're going to see people really locked down, whether it be another crisis or whatever it may be. And this is going to be the means by which people are forced into the government wallets. And here we are. We've been slogging it out, telling people, hey, listen, great community. We've got an alternative vertically aligned ecosystem. This is where you can transact without having to take a social credit score and a government ID. I mean, you could even extend it to say this is the mark of the beast. And I go, all right, that's worth fighting for. And to see Richard Hart ahead of time saying freedom of speech before really the censorship was obvious with the Twitter files, talking about freedom of movement, obviously in the midst of the Charlie 19 thing. And now I believe he's going to be really talking about privacy, because that's a huge piece of what's coming. And Richard Hart will not compromise his principles. He might do some crazy things just to get attention. But one thing I am confident after 1,000 hours of watching him is he truly is an advocate for people. And he knows, he's smart enough to know that, he works in the principle. Give away what you want to receive. He gives it away. And he doesn't win unless we win. And that, to me, I just get it fundamentally. And so anything we can do to support that, because what's interesting, and this is something, remember being in like middle school and like they're picking teams and, the coach is like, all right, and these two like popular kids get to choose teams, right? And there's all these kids standing around. And of course, you're hoping you're not picked last. And I feel like what's amazing is there's such an important part of community, because so many people that I've met in the Hex and Pulse community are potentially the people that weren't picked first, if you know what I'm saying. And it's like, hold on, where do I fit in? Do I have to be some banker out of New York? Or no, you don't. You can be a regular person who drives a truck and you have a place to be. And that, to me, is the essence of the meek will inherit the earth, is those that are not super confident. Those are the ones that aren't up front are going to be lifted up in this because we do it together. And to me, these are what the great movies are written about, right? The Bad News Bears, DJ Cryptomatic, and the Mighty Ducks, and
Yes.
it's the overcoming of obstacles, and everybody loves an underdog story, and that's what's so great to see with the Pulsechain is we're starting to get the credit.
Crypto Heartbeat, are you just a moment, just a cotton picking moment, as they say down in Crypto Heartbeat's neck of the woods. Crypto Heartbeat, I am very interested in your run for the presidential campaign. I believe that there were a whole bunch of people that said that if there was any Hexican that could make a good go for it, you would be their nomination, at least a write-in vote. So I'm looking forward to that. Are you also raising funds for this? Are you going to announce soon for your going? And what party will you declare for? Please tell all.
Yeah, so if I were ever to do anything in politics, it would
Breaking
be
news.
if there was a new Republic of Texas. I would never do anything within the United States.
I see. So you're going to be the president of Texas.
I have not said that, and that is not. We're 2 years away from the Republic, and that's 2 years away from actually getting things, done. So, what's so cool about all of this is I literally had a call yesterday with the leadership at the TNM, and the session in Texas is closed. They're only in for 140 days every 2 years, which is unique in and of itself with Texas. And basically keep the politicians out of the House. It's actually good for Texas. But this next go around, if I look at 10,000X in 623 days with Hex, let's just say the same experience that Hexicans had, the Texans have. What would happen? Let's just, use the scenario of, sub pennies to 52 cents. And the people that have been a part of the Texas nationalist movement or people that believed in the Texan token, let's say something miraculous like that happened. All the candidates that we'd want, basically, we all know that if we finance the revolution, it's the only way it's going to happen. And to think that we can do that in community, to me, this is a really powerful idea, because what are we really trying to do? We're not trying to separate from America. We're trying to preserve what was great about America in Texas. This is not, this whole thing has gotten off the rails. And so we want to reboot the system. Literally hard reboot, kick the cord out of the wall and say, no, the family. We need to defend the things that have made the civilized society strong, and all of that stuff is eroding. And so, to me, that's the mission right now. And so, to me, I'd be much more interested in financing the revolution than participating in the policy. I'm not a policy guy. I'm a take the field guy.
Yeah, that's what Ben Franklin said, man.
Yeah, whatever.
I think it's the right approach.
Yeah. Yeah, I got no aspirations there. My wife made it extremely clear that the last thing we're going to do is be in the public eye. This is enough for her with streaming.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of giving, actually, another initiative that you tried to get off the ground in the early days of your channel was the Compassion Cartel, right? Yep. And please correct me if I say this wrong. So any community member who sacrificed for the Pulsechain sacrifice back then was supposed to keep 1 million pulse aside for a future charitable cause. Where are we with that? Can you share some of the initiatives that people are planning to do, and how can people still get involved? Basically, Papa B wants to know if he has to pay now. Basically,
no paying now. So this is basically the same principle we talked about before. Is leadership is really important, right? And we know that with Richard Hart, having a leader who is consistent is important. And so when I saw this, forking of Ethereum and the Pulsechain's live now, I was so inspired to say, well, in my work as a fundraiser over the last 23 years, everybody goes to the rich guys, right? And you always want to find new people that haven't been solicited, and there just aren't any, right? So the rich guys always get solicited. Well, now you look at crypto, and here's like Balliet Brand, right? Balliet Brand's a big time player now. Well, he's never been solicited by anyone. And so the idea of decentralization is to say, what if we were to come together in community and shared what we are passionate about? I don't want to dictate what you do, but if you think about impact investing, let's say we want to have 1,000 people. We got 1,000 people to come into the Compassion Cartel. They went to the pulsepromise.com and they learned about it. And we said, all right, join this Telegram, but all we want you to do is share what you're passionate about with each other. So let's just run a scenario. Let's say we're in the Compassion Cartel and we all are really interested in we have a heart for adopting kids, right? We're worried about kids that are in challenging situations, and we care about adoption. And the 6 of us guys meet in the Compassion Cartel, and we said we'd set aside $1 million Pulse. Well, that's just a token, right? That's just, yeah, I guess I buy into this idea of working together. Well, I might be, have connection to someone who's doing some really innovative things in, for adoption for kids and helping protect kids. And you guys might say, hey, that's really cool. Well, how much more impact could we have if it's not just me, it's 6 of us? It's really a decentralized way of saying, hold on, we don't just have to give it to a charity. That's not the idea. The idea is, why don't we talk about what we're passionate about? Because I believe there's more joy in the process of giving and serving people than there is in buying a Lambo or looking at your balance and your bank account. And we found that to be true. So this isn't really exclusive to the Compassion Cartel. It's just leadership to say, hey, why don't we think about others instead of ourselves? Because that's actually what Richard did in the first place. He wants the glory, but he realized he doesn't get the glory unless other people are with him. So he has to give away the value. And it's the same principle, but we're going to be actually, now that Pulse is launched, anybody who wants to come in there, they would literally connect their wallet where they have that $1 million Pulse. And all we'll do, we won't keep track of addresses or anything. We're just going to have a ticker that basically shows the amount of quote unquote pledged Pulse or Pulse X that they've set aside. There's no accountability to this. We're not asking anyone to, it's just saying, yeah, I'm interested in being in a community of people who's interested in making a difference. And rather than dictating what people give, we're saying, no, what are you passionate about? Let's just get together with those people. Some people are interested in, farming. Some people are interested in energy and solar. Some people are interested in
animal shelters.
Doesn't care. I don't care what it is, but that's a decentralized impact investment fund. And if we end up having, let's say Pulse goes to $1, which is insane to think about, but it could happen. We're the largest group of potential donors on planet Earth. That's huge. We could have some of the most amazing impact across the world and solve some of these big issues. I believe that's right in line with what Richard's trying to do. Make the people rich, and then they will be generous.
Where can people go to take part in this? I mean, I've got your Twitter and your YouTube channel in the description down below. Yeah. Please follow CryptoHeartbeat. We've got 210 people watching right now. How can you're drawing the crowds, my man? How can people get involved with the Compassion Cartel?
Just go to pulsepromise.com. There's a link to the Compassion Cartel there and join that. Just join it. You don't have to do anything. There's no commitment. We're going to end up talking about it. And so it's coming that time where we're going to update that site. So Pulse Promise is going to be the place where you'll be able to connect your wallet and just say, hey, I'm in. And then we're just going to aggregate that total amount, because I want people to come back and go, hey, what's the price and how many people are in and what does that reflect? Because we know that if you have this gravity well of resources, or at least potential resources, that you're going to attract a lot of opportunities. And what I want to see is, look at Richard. Richard said, hey, I really care about longevity. Well, that's his passion, right? It may be yours, it may not be yours. But the fact of the matter is, he's going to be looking for innovative ways to address that issue. Well, I'm sure that there are going to be leaders within the Compassion Cartel who have, wow, I found this innovative thing related to poverty. Well, I've seen something related to poverty. Yeah, it's called crypto, right? Like, we could eradicate poverty in the Philippines if we can build a community, if they can build community. So we have solutions here that, we can work together to solve. And so I just want to find those people. And that's the thing I noticed in this Hex and Pulse community is it's a bunch of people who care, because who's most generous? Rich people aren't most generous. It's actually poor people who are most generous. And we got lots of them.
What are you expecting if you were to choose? And as a personal question, what are you expecting from Richard Hart going forward? Do you have any ideas on what he should focus on more? I know it's the no expectations thing, but we're just thinking out loud. If
he cared about my opinion, here's the thing. Without vision, the people perish, right? So vision is everything, and leadership is everything. And so he's shown himself to be a natural leader, but I see him as an innovator and an architect. Everything he touches, he makes better. Everything he touches, he makes better. So I would say That's your strength. And rather than get off the rails with dum-dums, because that's what ends up happening when he's on for a stream for 3 or 4 hours, is just he has to deal with all the dum-dums. And so I think that if he was more communicating these high-level things like, hey, what's your opinion about freedom and sovereignty? What's your opinion about privacy? What about freedom of speech? What about freedom of movement? How should we look at things? What about your new country? Share your vision. What's your vision for dealing with, he's thought very deeply about these topics of longevity. How do we impact these things? And he's somewhat of a contrarian, but it's weird because he sees things ahead of time, and that's what great innovators do. Yes. I always compare him to Henry Ford, because Henry Ford didn't invent the automobile. Carl Benz made the internal combustion engine, but it took someone like Henry Ford to say, hold on, we're going to build a system that makes this more accessible for the people. We're going to have designs that are cheaper, but as long as you like the color black, you can have a car. And that's Richard Hart, in my opinion. And to me, I think the glory that he's going to receive is because he's going to be, I think when history reflects on Richard Hart, he will be a significant person in this century. Why? Because he led with principle and did not compromise, and really was the force behind true DeFi. He's literally the leader of the cypherpunk movement, in my opinion, to hold that, because everybody else is selling out.
I miss his 8-hour streams.
I know.
I miss any streams. When the hell is he gonna stream again?
Yeah, I'm on it with Papa B. Like, where is he? Come on, man.
I love to hear his rants about random topics that people just threw at him in the chat. And
did you see this picture which leaked today? Have you guys seen this?
It looks so comfortable.
Oh.
But this is the room, right? This has all these things. Or maybe it has been rearranged for the highest of stakes. I wouldn't know, but it has all. It has all.
It's the room. It's the room because
it's the actual room.
Like the point where the camera sits.
Yes,
I think it's exactly his room. The room of.
And shorts. I love that. Shorts are good.
And it has the keyboard on the wooden panel.
Yeah,
and the 9-inch.
So those are some nice calves.
So is it just me, or does it look like there's Peter? These questions and many others will be answered when next he streams. Please go ahead and ask. Okay. Shave feet, please.
Oh wow!
Oh, Toby!
Hey.
It's time for a segment that we call.
I wasn't ready yet. What are you doing?
Well, then you'll bring him on.
And with Toby, what is happening? Like the whole market is on fire. What is going on?
It's Armageddon, boys.
We're not
panicking. Nobody's
for the explanation.
So basically I can just get into the technical parts, and then I can give my my sentiment on why we are where we are. So as we spoke about on Thursday, this magenta channel, if it was indeed going to be a breakdown, bam, 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 here we are, and broke through the horizontal resistance at 1.9, and then almost got down to that next target at 1.42. And got a nice rejection off of that. I don't know who else might have had some limit orders in there, but I know a guy that maybe got some filled. So I think that was personally think that was a great buying opportunity, not financial advice, of course. And you can see we almost did the full measured move, which would have taken us right to that horizontal support. Further down, which is like the super strong support, in my opinion, would be the bottom of that white wedge. So I think now it's just a matter of working our way back up through the horizontals and ideally back up here to the top of the white wedge to get a proper breakout. So, not the most beautiful chart. However, there's something that is interesting that I discovered, and this is the joy of TA and patterns is, boom, what? A new pattern? Could it be? It looks like we've got a red descending parallel channel. Looks like it's, you can see all the hits on the midline of that channel, as well as we got, at least one solid hit, 2 hits on the bottom, and 2 on the top. I like to see 2 to 3 on top and bottom, but that's pretty close, and we wicked right to it here, right? So that to me seems like a pretty consistent, pattern in the descending parallel channel. So if that is indeed the case that's happening with this particular asset, then what we would do is go ahead and throw on a line that's going to be the height of the channel. I know we don't have a lot of time, so I'm trying to be quick.
You're okay.
And right here, so if we were to break down, curiously enough, where does it take us? Right down to that next horizontal, which is like the doomsday scenario that I've been looking at for a long time, which is 007.
Dear.
Right. Now, I don't see that happening. I think with the things that have been changing recently with the liquidity farm, the yield farming thing for HEX pair, I think that should, if people are paying attention and using their brains, then they should understand why that's happening. And it's to incentivize people to stake, which reduces liquid supply, which typically increases price on both chains. So people were aping over. I was one of those that went ahead and bridged over my liquid hex to get in on that sweet ink token. And he got what he needed out of it, and now there's no reason to incentivize, right? So
I think the pool's large enough with hundreds of millions of dollars that there's no need to incentivize people to provide liquidity any longer.
But what are people selling into on the Pulse side? What are they actually selling into? Because the charts all move in tandem and to the downside. So they must be selling into something else.
I think people are still rushing into PLS and PLSX, and as that's being sold off, it doesn't make up for the amount of volume coming from EHEX into PulseX.
Right.
Yeah.
Bingo. Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's because the liquidity bonding and people are, and it's multiplied by the non-existing liquidity farms for EXPX.
Right.
Yeah, we kind of expected this. I think most of us expected this when the bridge became unclogged and people could start to bridge back their economic energy back to Ethereum. That's when we started to see the sell-off. And we all know there's a lot of people. We know there's a lot of people who have been crying for the last 2 years about, they're not saying it, but we knew that the problem is that they went in too deep, more than they could afford to invest, and they probably put the rent on the line, and they're like, I need any opportunity I can to take some profits at this point in time. So we knew that was coming. We knew there was going to be a red wave because of that.
There were two situations, and I think I talked about it in this show before. Let me just plug my phones.
What? Are you beating me to Dex Screener? I was just going to hop over to that.
I just wanted to show this because it's all the bonding totally works, right? This is
you tweeted that out, you big fudster.
Voice vent my frustration somehow. It's a waste of time. I'm not panicking.
It's like we all must suffer together.
Waste of time.
So
this is incentive.
It is the German way.
Hex on Pulse. This is Hex on Eve. This is Hedron on Pulse. So it all moves in tandem.
Yeah.
So
that was the goal of the farms, basically. That was the goal of the farms, to connect them all together.
To bond liquidity.
What happened was
one ring to bind them all.
We had the big drop because everyone assumed that it would drop when the fork happened, and so because everyone assumed it would drop, everyone sold, and it actually dropped. That's the first. So the second thing is people that finally got their Pulse and were able to get 2x, for instance, on Pulse, or 2.5x right away, basically on the first week. They want to get some value out, and as soon as the bridge declogged, they were able to, like I mentioned here, when the bridge was open, people that bridged X out to the Pulse side, they were basically allowing others to buy into their bridged X, swap it back, and sell it down on the Ethereum side. And that drops the prices for all the tokens. So what's happening is exactly what I said might happen if the liquidity between the two tokens was very high, and if people provided too much liquidity in X on that other side, some would use that liquidity to bridge it back and sell it down. So to me, that's what's been playing. So I see it as a natural thing.
And because of OKX, I think some people are getting hands on Pulse and are able now to sell Pulsex if they don't have any Pulse.
Yeah, not only that, but the ratio
can't get it
between
off yet, though.
the two tokens are the ratio between the tokens are still
you're
volatile
right.
because the liquidity is not that high yet.
Yeah, I mean, this is the OKX chart, so it's fair to say that this is not at fault of this stunt. This is pretty much
nobody
showing-
can get their assets off of OKX
Yeah,
yet.
that's only as of tomorrow.
Yeah, it's still not connected, so bots cannot
That
even
is still
arbitrage
okay.
with it. Yeah,
That is
bots
still
can-
okay, and there's a lot of micro trading going on as well. It's 10,000. You see this here when you look at the order book. It's 10,000 pulls, 13 back. You know, it's high frequency, little stuff. Typical centralized exchange.
You can put limit orders in there too.
If people
Yes,
think about
everything.
if people think about it, it's not like a normal token being exchanged, because this time no one gave OKX or any other centralized exchange a big chunk for them to list us. Nobody paid them a fee for them to list us. So the volume will increase naturally as more people flock to OKX to actually trade Pulse. So it's not like a big exchange that lists a new coin and that's a bunch of supply to just add to the liquidity pools and dump it in the market.
Yes. I mean, no financial advice, but don't sell away your golden goose at these levels. That's all I can say, and that's where my frustration is sometimes.
I recommend everybody dump. My limit orders have not filled on EHEX yet, so yes, please, everybody get really, really terrified and dump, because it's going to zero. It's going to zero. So hey,
any final hopium that you can sell us?
Kinda. So over here on the deck screener thing, which I discovered live on stream with you guys last week, and the little green dragon head that I drew in, I was hoping, because it was more or less an ascending or symmetric triangle, that we would break to the upside, which would have given us a move to about up yonder. However, we broke to the downside. So if you look at that, it's like, we still might have some downside to go, maybe back. Well, actually, on this chart, what the hell? Okay, deck screener, are we not given all the data? Because the full measured move of this, actually, we would have hit. So I don't know if this is pulling V2 info or where it's getting its info, because this is saying that the measured move on this would have been 15.6, and we went down to about 14.5. So it's played out the measured move down on a chart better than this one. So I would expect it to kind of find some balance and some support in this range. You can see a lot of activity over here where we got some support in that area. So I think that we should start working our way back up, and then maybe a new, more obvious pattern will materialize. But we got this is an hourly chart. So I mean, if you go to the daily, it's like that's what we got that we're working with. There's just not any history here yet to really get a good idea of what's what. So so that's kind of pretty limited as far as like getting good
Chain
data.
is not even 2 weeks old.
Right. It looks like a little pony head or something. But yeah, so I mean that's kind of the gist of that, and it's like, I'm not concerned. I'm actually going to do another wire here in a minute to see if we do push lower and get my low limit orders in just to snap it up. And
send one for me too, Toby.
Toby,
Yeah,
Toby,
right.
Toby, I
no
think
financial advice.
I think the price for EHEX is being set on the Pulse side, because that side has the majority of the liquidity.
Sure.
Yeah. Right now, the liquidity on the Ethereum side is so low that I'm seriously considering adding myself liquidity, because just one or two guys are racking all the fees.
Don't tell my secrets, Elmire.
Well, the nice
Where
thing
do you
is,
think that wire is going, bro?
the nice thing about liquidity, yes, there is impermanent loss, but if it sloshes back and forth enough, you make up more than make up for that in fees. But you're also DCAing in towards the bottom and DCAing out towards the top. So there is some game theory there if you guys are willing to go down that rabbit hole.
Yep. And then the thing that I've shouted all over Twitter is that, the thing that people don't think about, there's billions of dollars locked on the Ethereum side for 15 years. If you think that the sharks and the whales are not going to defend that price, then you are not using all of your brain.
I would not be surprised to see the sharks and whales in the ecosystem start to buy up all that Lambo or Ferrari HEX because the fees are so high. You have to transact with a lot of it to make it worth your while. And at these prices, I think they see, maybe they're waiting for that level that you were talking about, the doomsday scenario, Toby, but I don't think they'll let it sit there for very long. Like you said, they've got billions of dollars invested in this already. So why wouldn't they go defend the price and maybe have an opportunity
but with
to gobble up
that,
more
the
of
whales only become stronger and
Whales
larger
only?
bags
And
and more
stronger?
powerful. So y'all are doing it wrong.
But not
Yeah,
only
right.
that, we are already seeing the APY on the Ethereum side to start to be lower than on the Pulse side. So everything we've been saying for a while is starting to happen. So
And lots of emergency and staking, 3 million again today. So the payout these last
but they
couple of days
returned.
per t-shirt.
They returned. I don't know
they
if you
wanted
know
to
this.
get some APY on the other side. But
Huge.
And we've already, I mean, you got to see that's a pretty big bounce. I mean, that's about 10% off where we wicked down to, where we're already back up to what, 15.8, 15.9, from that little dipsy doodle. And as people, learn from watching shows like this and paying attention on Twitter to like the more educated of the Hexagon crew, they're gonna understand what's happening, and it's not gonna, like, not every move is terrifying, right? Not every move is gloom and doom. It's like, I don't think Richard likes red candles. He has said publicly many times he wants to see Hex expensive on both chains. He just can't be overt about it because of obvious reasons, right?
Speaking of many times, we've hit the ceiling of our 1 hour format. Peter, I will give you 30 seconds to wrap it up. Peter, go.
Okay, so
Can I
Pulsechain.
shout out my sister really fast, because she bought this for me for Christmas, and it's like I'm just now getting it up. So thank you, sis, for the Toby 1 Hex.
Very
nice.
nice.
Really nice.
Very nice.
So,
Mr. Crypto Heartbeat, you have the final word. Again, congratulations on everything with your channel. Just 10,000 subscribers. You started in August 21. That's like closing in on the 2-year anniversary. You've been very consistent, 500 videos out, totaling 900,000 views on your channels, closing in on.
He's reading your baseball card, by the way.
Yeah. 13,000 subscribers on Twitter. What is the future of your channel now that Pulsechain is live? Do you have any plans? Do you keep going? Do you want to add different shows? I know you're doing the Christian episodes with Steve Staggs as your co-host. What is the future of the Crypto Heartbeat channel?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to continue to communicate about this vertically aligned ecosystem. Basically, I'm gonna keep saying what I wish Richard Hart would say, that this is the future for people who want freedom and sovereignty, period. And to me, I'm gonna invest everything I've got into making the Pulse chain the opportunity that it really is, which is this is the place we're going to be able to transact when you can't transact anywhere else. And so that'll be the core. I'm going to continue to do Fridays with Steve Staggs. We'll do that tomorrow. But then what we're doing as a team is really just as a a teaser. We have connected with the foremost academic on referendums in the world. He's the advisor to 17 independence movements, and is very intrigued with what we've done with the Texas Nationalist Movement. And so we already have our first next country. And so there's some pretty exciting things that are happening. But our goal is to tokenize the world, man. And we want to do that through people who want to be free. So to me, the only place to do that is in the Richard Hart ecosystem, and everything's going to be about freedom and sovereignty moving forward.
Powerful.
Love it.
Powerful stuff.
Thank you for coming by, Crypto Heartbeat.
Thanks,
and
Papa.
y'all
Good to
come
see you,
back.
man.
You hear?
You hear?
Yeah. Hey, can I say one thing? You know what? He is so polished on stream. Sometimes people might take that as like maybe it's like putting on an act. He is the most genuine dude in person. I met him in Vegas, and he is exactly what you see on stream. Super kind, great representation of a Christian man, and I'm honored to call him a friend.
Oh, Toby One, thanks, dude.
Follow his channel, follow Crypto Heartbeat on Twitter. Links are down below in the description. Thanks everybody for coming on today. And I think we got ourselves an outro, right?
Outro.